Hello, folks, and welcome to my Black Diabetes Meal Plan podcast. I'm joined today with Dr. Joel Fuhrman. This is the number one New York Times best-selling author of Eat to Live, and someone who's actually been helping to reverse type 2 diabetes in patients for over 30 years. And I said reverse, not merely deal with or help people kind of live with. When we talk today, the whole point of our broadcast are to make sure that you're getting the tools and the understanding that's required in order to empower yourself to move past type 2 diabetes and into a state of full health. And so, Dr. Fuhrman, I'm so glad that you're joining me today, because today I want to really talk about one of the things that folks bring up all the time, which is simply not having enough energy, right? It's the holiday season. We love to get the food, but I think sometimes we miss the connection between the food that we're eating and the energy reserves that we want to have when it's time to go do the things we want to do most. And so that's what we'll start with today. How are you doing, by the way?
Doing great, having tons of fun.
Excellent, excellent. I'm so wondering, with Thanksgiving, before we jump into this conversation, what do you have for your Thanksgiving meal? Like, what did you have yesterday for your dinner?
Oh, we had all kinds of nice stuff. We had stuffed artichokes, we had sweet potato pie, we had pumpkin pie, we did have mashed potato, but we had a string bean wok, like Thai dish with with different peas and snow pea pods and mushrooms and everything, quinoa. We had a whole bunch of stuff. Just a lot of different dishes that were tasted really great.
Did you feel like you were, after the meal was over, that you lacked energy, that you couldn't maybe get up and go for a run?
Oh no, I didn't eat that much different or that much more than I usually eat, but of course, maybe a little bit more. Maybe, the dessert, we had one of those delicious ice creams that we make with frozen banana and coconut milk and macadamia nuts with real vanilla. We made a little ice cream on top of this apple crumble my daughter made. So maybe I eat a little more than I usually ate.
Sure.
But,
okay, so even Dr. Fuhrman.
Yeah,
okay.
Oh, you know what we did after the meal here? Maybe I could show you this. Hold on. They wanted to do a TikTok dance, so we did this.
Oh, look at this. Is that you in the back, Doc?
Yeah, look at me in the blue shirt in the back.
Okay, all right. Well, see, you clearly had enough energy to get up and dance, right?
With my kids always want to dance. They say, "Okay, we're telling jokes, we're doing this, but now we got to do our dancing. We got to dance."
Was that after the dinner or before the dinner?
No, that was definitely after the dinner.
Wow.
My 94-year-old mother went home by then.
Oh, she didn't want to dance. Okay, so this actually gets us to the heart of the conversation today. Because I want to make sure we're defining terms. When in the African American community, when we talk about eating food, we have this sort of colloquial phrase. It's called the itis, right? So you have a meal, and then you get the itis. And so when you have a big Thanksgiving meal full of turkey, ham hocks, mac and cheese, sweet potato pie, well, afterwards, you don't really want to get up and dance like that. You don't want to do a TikTok video. You want to lay down, right? You want to get on the couch. You may watch a little football, whatever the case is, but you're done. And so the problem is that that the itis, as we describe it, is really one of sleepiness, not necessarily irritability, but just you're kind of tired. You're low energy. The question I'm having is, what's really happening in our body's energy reserves when we eat too much of the standard American diet? So whereas some families were laying on the couch, your family was up and dancing, right? And the bodies are the same, right? We know that the nervous systems function the same way, but there must be something about the fuel that we were putting into the body in order to produce these different results. And so can you say something about what is the itis? What's actually happening in the body that makes us feel sluggish and tired and lethargic?
Yeah, it's the answer is always the same, right? It's the food, stupid. The answer is the food, stupid. But anyway, but look, it's really not. I don't consider what most people eat to be food. Food is supposed to be defined as something that supplies the body with nourishment and the nutrients it needs to have normal function. But when we take in processed foods or foods that don't contain phytochemicals and antioxidants and or for the body to make energy, because don't forget, it's the mitochondria in the cell that makes energy and turns glucose, carbohydrate, to glucose into energy. In order to do so, makes ATP, all these substances. It burns cofactors, vitamins, minerals, and selenium and magnesium. You're burning things that your body utilizes, not just the glucose. You're not just putting straight glucose. To turn the glucose into energy, you're using nutrients, micronutrients. If you take in the glucose without the micronutrients, then it can't convert the glucose into energy, and it has to then store it as fat. And then because it stores it as fat, you get fat accumulation around your muscle cells. But before you even get fat accumulation in muscle cells, you feel lethargic because you can't turn all that food energy into physical energy. So you feel like you're not as, what's the word? You don't feel like being active and feel like going for a hike or a run or playing a game or going out and playing basketball or something. My family, they'll come over and they want to go, let's play pickleball, let's play basketball, let's do this, let's play this. Last night they were still here. Yesterday we went on a hike up this thing called Climbers Loop, which was like 2 miles up this hill, like straight up this hill to the top. And it was so steep, I sometimes had to pick the dog up in my arm to pick him up over a giant rock to get him up because he couldn't get his body up over that rock, so I had to pick the dog up so we can keep climbing up the mountain. What I'm saying is that then you have the lipomyocellular deposits, that you deposit fat in muscle tissue. And when you deposit fat in muscle tissue, then the muscles can't reap the energy. Then they're blocked from the glucose penetrating the muscle tissue too. So you have a combination of the diet that people ate, the whole excess calories and the improper foods they were eating before the Thanksgiving meal. So they already had too much body weight and too much fat on their body before the meal. So now, and then they have more food and they're chronically nutritionally deprived because they're not eating foods that are rich in phytochemicals and antioxidants. See, when food is converted to energy, it produces free radicals. But when you eat an apple, or when you eat a mango or something, the fruits contain the antioxidants to deal with or remove the free radicals produced from the generation of the energy from that food. So in the natural foods, when you're eating, a peach, you're eating this peach, there's antioxidants in the strawberry and the peach that help diffuse the free radicals produced by the oxidation of the sugar in the peach. But when you have a piece of bread, white bread, or apple juice, or some kind of sweetener, you're not getting the nutrients to reduce the free radical production from the generation of that energy. And then you're creating a flood of reactive oxygen species. You're creating more free radicals in the body, which then age us and make us feel sick and create inflammation, which then causes disease like heart disease and wasting of brain cells and dementia. But of course, what I'm saying right now is lethargy is the inevitable consequence of the foods you ate that can't be properly metabolized into energy. And also the excess calories you consume, which puts fat on the body. And make no doubt about it, fat on the body is not normal, and you shouldn't, and there's no such thing as like healthy at any weight. These people say, oh, you can be overweight and healthy. No, you can't. Oh, I'm in good health except for my high blood pressure. No, if you have high blood pressure, I'm in good health except for my breast cancer. No, or I'm in good health, but I'm 10 pounds overweight. But none of those cases are examples of good health. Because with proper eating and correct diet and good nutrition, and good health, you wouldn't be overweight, you wouldn't have high blood pressure, you wouldn't have diabetes, and you wouldn't have breast cancer. So there's no, to be good health means to feel great, but also to be free of these diseases that are caused by what we're eating. And we're saying that you can reverse your high blood pressure, reverse your type 2 diabetes, and reverse your, obviously, even early stages cancers can be reversed and go the other way. But in any case, we're talking about a person with type 2 diabetes should be gradually coming off the medication and getting rid of their diabetes. And if they're not doing the right thing. If they're not getting rid of it. Now, that doesn't mean there's not an occasional case, like 1 in 15 people whose type 2 diabetes has become so advanced, it's almost like a type 1.5, where their beta cells, even when they lose the weight, And even when they eat super healthy, they still need a little bit of insulin because they destroyed their beta cells, and they can't even recover them. And so there are some occasional people with type 2 diabetes who might still need a small amount of insulin, even though they get their health back. But that's relatively rare. That's like not even 1 in 20 people who can't get rid of their type 2 diabetes. You know what I mean?
Okay. Okay. So we're talking about 5% of type 2 people diagnosed with type 2 diabetes may be a type 1.5.
Yeah, they may develop into a type 1.5 over time. You know what I mean?
Sure. And that's so fascinating. Just to kind of recap what you said about the itis, listen, it sounds like it's putting a whole bunch of dead material into your body. And then, of course, you feel weighted down by that dead material because it can't metabolize into energy for you. Your body really can't make use of it in any kind of way. I imagine that food just kind of sits in your intestines, and it'll eventually be processed out, but not before it releases a bunch of free radicals that now you've got to overeat healthy foods just to combat. Is that kind of getting it right?
Well, the deficit now of energy, and also the fact that people feel all these toxins of free radicals, means they're going to feel wasted unless they overeat, because now they're using food as a stimulant, not as an energy source. So it's like you can feel energy from caffeine, but you're stimulating. It's like taking a horse that just ran a race, and you could whip it to run another race, or give it steroids, or give it some amphetamines to make, even though it's tired and wants to rest, you whip it to keep it going. But then you'll ruin the horse, and the horse will be killed. It will never be able to run it again, and it'll just like ruin its health by pushed it too far. But I'm saying that the human body, these people have poor energy production, and now they don't have good muscle density and muscle strength, and they're not fueling themselves with nutrients, so they build up toxic waste products in their tissues. And now they're constantly dumping waste, and when circulating waste in the bloodstream makes you feel lethargic and fatigued and even a little anxious and you don't feel, and dysthymic. And then they got to keep eating calories to keep more energy up. So they're forced to, instead of just peeling, you and I could feel good if we eat or not. To skip a whole day of eating, I can go, and run miles, but whatever it is, you don't need the food. Your energy's in the body. Why can't people just live with the calories they ate the last week? They have some fat on the body they can burn for energy. You don't have to eat for energy, but they can't even do that because when they're not eating food, the body goes into a detox phase, because your body is breaking down fat, spewing out more toxic pro-inflammatory substances, and ridding itself of reactive oxygen species, another form of free radicals. So we're saying here that when you're in the non-feeding state, you're going to feel more fatigued, and now you're going to stimulate yourself. And the reason you're going to feel okay now and get energy is not because you're the food calories, it's because eating and digestion halted the detox and the removal of free radicals in the blood, because the body can't cleanse itself and bring calories in at the same time. The liver can't. So the cleansing process makes people feel in some way weakened. And the eating again makes them feel energized. So then this person has to keep eating all the time. They don't feel good if they don't keep putting food in their mouth. So 2 hours after a meal, they're hungry again. What do you mean you're hungry again? You just ate, But I'm feeling fatigued. I'm feeling stomach cramping. I'm feeling not good. I feel better if I eat food. They think it's hunger because eating makes them feel better. They got to always overeat to feel okay. So now they got to be overweight because they didn't focus on the quality of what they're eating, and they can't go on a diet or eat less to lose weight, or they feel too weak and too sick to eat less food. So I'm saying until you focus on the nutritional quality of what you're eating, you're not going to succeed on a diet and losing the weight. So it's a whole vicious cycle that they can't get out of. And I'm also saying that a piece of chicken is like a bagel, a piece of chicken, white potato, bagel, it's all the same stuff.
What do you mean?
Well, the bagel gives us carbohydrate, but poor quality carbohydrate and high glycemic carbohydrate. The chicken gives us protein, but it's packed with no nutrients. There's no phytochemicals, antioxidants, there's no high nutrient levels that supply the body and build up its antioxidant capacity to remove toxins. So both the bagel and the chicken are examples of foods that have a low micronutrient density. They don't give us the nutrients our body's craving, so they contribute to our toxic load. And the bagel drives up insulin, and the chicken drives up IGF-1, which is insulin-like growth factor 1. And both insulin raising and IGF-1, insulin-like growth factor 1 raising, drives body weight storage, fat storage, cancer cell replication, aging of the body, right? These are examples of animal products or processed foods. And we're saying the third category of food, produce, fruits and vegetables, beans and nuts, greens, beans, onions, mushrooms, berries, seeds, nuts, vegetables, carrots and broccoli and bok choy and whatever, wherever, that flooding the body with colorful plants does the opposite. That floods the body with antioxidants, anti-angiogenic factors, anti-estrogenic factors, anti-cellular replication, and it gives you a different type of energy, an energy that gives you all the nutrients the body needs for the cells can function normally, to produce, to take the food and turn it into energy, to make you feel good all the time. And you could finish a meal and go out, we always want to go finish a meal and go for a hike or go out to the, lately we've been doing a lot of court sports too, because we just built a pickleball court. It's the latest thing, but I like tennis better than pickleball, because pickleball, you don't run as much as tennis.
Okay.
I like to run back and forth, you know what I mean? But anyway.
See, and folks, this is the whole reason we're having this conversation, because Dr. Fuhrman is smiling and he's telling you how much he's enjoying time with his family and exercise, but consider the fact that he's able to do that because he hasn't robbed himself of that opportunity. In other words, by ingesting this sort of dead weight food, it's not, you couldn't even call it food if it's raising your insulin levels and your IGF-1 levels, right? You're robbing yourself of your ability to dance with your kids, your ability to get out in your garden, your ability to play with your grandkids, right? Just the video you showed just now, Doc, there's people who are at home and they're saying, I sure wish I could do that. And what we're here to say is that you can, is that you actually really can. But in order to do that, we're going to have to go from stripping the body of its energy reserves to actually depositing into the body more energy. And you were just hitting the nail on the head as you finished speaking just a moment before, Doc. You were talking about flooding the body with micronutrients. Can you say something about how we are able to create more energy reserves in the body? Even if we're not eating, yes, we have fat on the body, we know that's stored energy, but even if we're not eating, right, what do I need to be doing every day? What does the person at home need to be doing every single day to make sure that they have a surplus of energy capital inside of their body bank account rather than a deficit?
Right. It's be able to access the energy, not to build. Energy means calories. Energy, fat in the body is calories. We all have tons of energy. We're in an excess caloric environment. I always say half of what we eat feeds our needs, and the other half of what we eat feeds the needs of our doctors.
Oh, okay. Well, hold on. Can you say more?
Yeah, the half of what we eat, because most people consuming like 2,500 to 3,500 calories a day. The body only needs about 1,000 to 1,500. We're eating double the amount of calories, and they can't access the energy. They don't feel well. They're aging with all those extra calories. It all of making them sick, and it's all because they're not getting enough nutrients. Getting too many calories, not enough nutrients, and the secret to accessing energy is eating the foods we're designed to as a species, which is the main one and the most important one is green vegetables. The body is dependent on green vegetable consumption to be able to utilize the energy on our body, because we need those nutrients present in vegetables, including lettuce, by the way. Even lettuce contains nutrients that fuel the growth of the healthy bacteria in the gut. But between leafy green vegetables, I mean, if we were living here with no, 30,000 years ago, looking in the woods for food, I looked around here, even where I'm living now. When I was living in Jersey, I looked around. In Maryland, I looked around. I always could find food in the woods. Tons of parsley, tons of wild artichokes, tons of wild, that licorice stuff, tasting stuff all over the place. Tons of wild leaves, there's all kinds of greens, but humans are a green vegetable dependent animal like the other primates. And we don't get the nutrients our body needs unless we eat sufficient greens, both, and in this modern age, both raw and cooked. We're talking about a salad, where you're putting in a lot of green leafy vegetables and having cooked vegetable dishes that are mostly green, tremendous amount of green vegetables. I always say too, if you don't like green vegetables, you better live close to a hospital.
Mm.
Because but not that that's going to help you. But the point is, if you don't like green vegetables, you can't be well. You can't be. You're going to age prematurely. You can't be normal. And if you don't eat salads and chew raw greens and eat big amounts of leafy, you can't be normal. It's normal. We can't raise a panda bear and feed it coconuts. It's meant to be eating a certain food for its digestive system. You can't raise a human and not be eating fruits and vegetables. We've just deviated from the norm for our species, and disease is the result of that.
Right. And one of the things that can happen, I mean, on a day-to-day basis, forget the holidays, is, you get that what's called that 2 o'clock feeling. You even have marketers who are coming out and saying, hey, do you ever get that 2 o'clock feeling? You should try a 5-hour energy drink, right? Obviously, if anyone's ever worked in a group environment, you know what it looks like when people are coming in the morning and they're filling up on the caffeine. People have to have that energy kick before working, because it's not readily available to them just from their own body's energy reserves. The question that I'm really having is, one, is there a danger to these sort of external processed manipulation, packets of energy in the coffee, in the 5-hour energy drink? And two, what do we need to change so that we don't actually have to rely on those processed substances for energy? The other way of saying that is there a way to walk into the office in the morning and actually not need the coffee because you're optimized for energy use from natural food?
That's one of the reasons I'm so against coffee is, these stimulants, because the people, they're not connected with how much sleep they need now and then how much rest they need. They're not connected with it. Like you said, you should wake up in the morning and feel ready to go and excited about life and passionate and happy and want to accomplish what you want to get done in the day. And you don't need anything to get yourself going. You're already going. If you need things to get yourself going, then here's the thing, and just to bring this up, we've developed this medical mentality that's been facilitated by this medical model where people think a pill is their answer to things. They're looking to take substances to feel okay, to get more energy, to feel their headache go away, to make their pain go away, to lower their blood pressure, to control their diabetes, to, instead of eating green vegetables to get folate, to have normal babies, they take a folic acid pill. Everything's based on a pill mentality. And they think that the pills are going to cure them and access to medical care are going to give them a good life. And all it does is destroy their life, ruin their life, and create incredible tragedy because they think they can buy their health in a bottle or in a pill. And what I'm saying is that in most cases, not every case, but in most cases, feeling worse means you're getting healthier, and feeling better means you're getting sicker. People just, they don't understand this concept, this basic concept. When your body is healthy and you get exposed to, let's say, a virus, you feel ill for a few days because the body produces fever, mucus, and things to kill the virus. The fever helps burn the virus and activate the immune system. The mucus helps wash away the virus particles. The inflammation serves a right-directed purpose. You look up the word inflammation in medical textbooks. When we went to medical school, the Robinson Cochran said, the textbook says, the inflammatory response is intertwined with the process of repair and serves to remove or wall off or otherwise deal with the injurious agent to set into motion a series of events that tries to heal and reconstitute damaged tissue. In other words, what I'm saying is inflammation set in motion by the body tries to repair itself and remove the toxic agents out of the body. And when you feel sick and you get a headache and stomach cramping, fatigue, energy, skin rashes, those are all examples of the body removing toxins out of the body, trying to repair things. Even lowering your fever with a fever medication when you're sick increases the risk of viral spreading and makes you potentially sicker. In other words, what I'm saying is that people are taking they can't get energy from a pill. They're feeling like they're stimulating their body, but they were feeling ill because the body was in a detox mode and was trying to heal itself. It was repairing itself. And then they take a pill to get energy, you stop the repair. What I'm saying is a person has headaches and you go to a doctor, the headache is the treatment. The headache is the body trying to remove the toxins. Go to a doctor and he gives you a drug like Escid, Vanquish, Excedrin, Furanol, Furacet, Midrin, drugs whose active ingredients are barbiturates, narcotics, and caffeine, which then suppress the poisons back in the body So that when you felt ill because the poisons are trying to come out of the body, the doctor suppresses it back into the body again with these poisons. But now you have the narcotics and the caffeine and the barbiturates in your body, and you built up to your toxic load. So it makes the next time you go for that headache, it's going to be hard, it's going to be worse. And eventually what the doctor did is he got you now needing to take drugs all the time, because the more drugs you took to suppress the headache, you never let the headaches finish its work it had to do. And now you got a chronic headache syndrome where a person has headaches every day, and he's got to be put on chronic medications to suppress their headaches. So you made some medical care make this person sicker. And then medical care makes the type 2 diabetics sicker in the same way, because they're focused on controlling the blood sugar only. And the blood sugar is just one of the small symptoms of diabetes. And they're giving you a drug that's going to make you gain weight easier, become more diabetic. And they're going to push the failing beta cells in the pancreas to produce more insulin to make your sugar look better. But the problem is that pancreatic beta cells are being pushed too hard. So the drug makes the person become more diabetic, not less diabetic. And they gain weight, the diabetes gets worse. They need more and more drugs. And if they never had medications, then they would have been better off to let their sugar run higher until they can get their weight down and change their diet and lose some weight. So what I'm saying is, this pill mentality, this idea that we have a number on a blood test, so we can treat it with a drug, that's the whole mentality that messes everybody up. Because instead of dealing with the cause, they try to suppress the symptoms. In most cases, the symptoms are the efforts of the body to rid itself of the cause, in most cases.
And with the whole culture that's dedicated to making sure that people have the most convenient, the most efficient pharmaceutical product in order to deal with what people ought to be dealing with lifestyle choices, we run into this issue of chronic low energy and people reaching for the latest pill, the caffeine, the coffee, the 5-hour energy drink in order to give them what they already have internally. And so one of the things that we want to do is make sure that people get out of that rut, right? And so if you're at home, you're watching this, start with the assessment. Go to myblackdiabetesmealplan.com. And what we want to do is make sure that we understand who you are. And then more importantly, we get you onto a program so that you can start introducing healthy foods back into your life. And keep in mind, folks, every single person that comes on is also going to be receiving Dr. Fuhrman's T21 plan, which is going to, I mean, it's a godsend. It's one of these programs that's going to walk you through every single day the exact delicious foods that you need to be eating in order to reverse type 2 diabetes and to actually achieve a more favorable weight. And so all of that begins at myblackdiabetesmealplan.com. Dr. Fuhrman, I want to thank you once again for joining the podcast, coming on and giving us all this great information, things that we can keep in mind, particularly as we move through the holiday season and all the familiar traditional standard American diet foods are presented to us. We can make better choices because we have better knowledge. And so I thank you so much. I look forward to our next conversation, and this is hoping and wishing that you and your family be very well, and also maybe produce some more TikTok videos. I want to see what you do for Christmas.
All right. Sounds good.